Hello, this is Brandon from Galaxy Stock Market. Welcome, members. We thank you for being part of our community. And for those of you joining us a little bit later in the week on X.com and YouTube, thank you so much for your subscription and following me. Let's get to the topic of obviously we're going to have a holiday shortened week coming up from the next week, which is November 24th to November 28th of trading. And the title of my presentation is Trading Thanksgiving Volatility. And what do I mean by that? You're going to have to find out. Okay, here's the disclaimer. Pause it, read it. If you agree, please move forward. And thank you for all the follows and subscriptions on YouTube and X.com. I mainly post on X.com. Like and comment and share. Thank you so much for your interest and for viewing my channel. Okay. Now here's the situation, folks. All right. And just so that if you don't know, November 27th, which is Thursday, the market is closed. Okay, and then of course on the 28th, the market closes early. So pretty much most of the traders are going to be done if they haven't left already for next week. It's going to be very thinly traded stock market. And generally it has a very choppy, small range sideways to maybe an upward bias historically. However, if we are entering into a situation where the market is in a correction or starting to get into correction / crash mode. The thinly traded volume can magnify whatever the move or shock that may come. Usually, it will not come until post Thanksgiving. So just be very, very careful. I just would not put a lot of trading capital to work during this holiday shortened week. However, I just want to make sure that you know that November 27th, Thursday, the market is closed, and November 28th, the market is only open until 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, that was my public service message. Sorry about my voice. Just a lot of stuff going around lately, so got a little froggy there. All right, so I want to start always my presentation with where are we on this 2008 to 2009 financial crisis analog. I do a lot of time cycle analysis and cycle analogs to compare with the current situation. And I have said about 2 weeks ago that we had topped here. So this is pretty much the top that we've talked about. And yes, we started to get these sell-offs coupled with these Friday. And I understand that this analog is from May to June. You don't really want to look at the analog into the November, and which we may be in this situation. We just don't think this is the right cycle, because we would have seen this massive sell-off just yet. I think we're preparing for it, and I think we're about maybe 6 to 7 months behind on this analog if we're going to enter into this impulsive phase. We're just starting, folks. All right, so where are we? So we started right over here, and what I think is going on is that we have a situation. We've just been moving around, and we had a little bit of a rescue on Friday and previous Friday, and then we've just traded up, and then we always get these sell-offs in the middle of the week. What I think is going on realistically is that we've had this little bit of a rescue, and we've been just moving a little, grinding a little bit higher. And I think starting next week, we're going to either sell off on Monday, or we're going to just move sideways into this area. Okay. So just to be clear, I think that we got these Friday rescue. This is what we pretty much got right here. And either we're going to get this Monday pull down, or we're going to just have this choppy motion through into the Thanksgiving. I do believe that there is an increasing volatility that's coming, and so we may be in this analog, or we may be in this analog right here. But regardless, I do expect that if we do not sell off on Monday morning, and we just have the same type of market action where we pop and drop, and I think that's kind of been what's happening over the last 2 weeks. You get this massive rescue into the Fridays, and then from Monday we get a little bit of a pop in the beginning of the week, and then then we just sell off, and it gets a little bit impulsive at the middle of the week. And I think that action is going to continue. I don't think that the markets are oversold. Okay, at this point, I think it's just the appetizer. We're just getting started. But looking at this analog chart really gives us a sense of where we are headed. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but it is a very similar environment that we are in. All right, let's move on because you've seen this to death. All right, so, and I've said, pay attention to the US dollar shift. It's a flight to safety. And for a while, we've been below the 100. I've been harping on the fact that we've been below the 100. And here we are. We're above 100. And this is realistically what's happening within the market is that there is a flight to safety into US dollars. In general, in the past, what would happen is that would coincide with money also flowing into the 10-year yield. TNX measures the 10-year yield. And so what we've gotten is since the Fed announcement, we hit about 39.7. We've gone higher. Yes, we had a little blip down on Friday, and there is that movement down. And if you really want to know the dynamics of this, the Federal Reserve will protect this 10-year yield at all costs, even at the sacrifice of the stock market temporarily. And this is what they're attempting. The problem is that Trump wants the stock market high, so he could tout how his tariffs and his economic revamping of the United States is working. So it is the battle between the two titans, and henceforth, that's why you see those two people, Trump and Powell, at the title screen. Okay, and that's what the battle is. It's battle between the two warring factions, I would say. Is that one wants the stock markets to come down so that he could save this 10-year yield, because all of their lies and all of their premise of their existence is built upon this yield, and they've cut rates twice already, and the rates continue to go higher, and this is the problem. Okay, now, so we talked about it. Rates are rising post-Fed cut, but Wednesday to Friday action shows from last week that clear sign that Fed is doing all it can to normalize rates, meaning bring the rates down at stock market expense. And so far they're getting some traction, and I think that's the dynamic at this point. Apart from the fact that nobody wants United States bonds because we're functionally bankrupt at this point as a nation. Okay, and all of this volatility that you see in the crypto markets, in the commodities market, it's a pan-market sell-off that's been going on. And it's because a new monetary system is coming on based on stable coins, blockchain, central bank digital currency. Yes, it's coming. It's the big brother. It's the mark of the beast that is coming. Everything is going to be tokenized and controlled by AI going forward. Okay, if you don't know that dynamics, you need to do some more research, folks. Okay, what are we doing on silver? Well, silver is basically chopping around. It broke out at 48.15, and that is the breakout range right here. And it's chopping ahead of options expiration at 11/24/2025. And what I mean by that is that we've had basically a situation where it's moving sideways. We've been around 51.50 all throughout the week, and then coinciding with the equities options expiration this past Friday, brought it right back down at the breakout level. And we'll go over that just shortly. And why I'm still bullish on silver. I think silver and gold is underpriced, and it will continue to move higher. We just got to get through the holidays at this point. All right, so let's look at really what's going on in terms of our esteemed stock market. So let me bring this right over. All right, so let's start with gold right here and silver right here. All right, so let's start with silver. This green dotted line is basically the line in the sand. As you can see on Friday, we've been trading right around 50, 51, 58 throughout the week, and they brought this right back down here because there is an options expiration on Monday, November 24th, 2025. And what do I expect to happen? Well, I expect us to start moving higher. We're just basically making a very, very choppy sideways motion, right? I mean, we've pretty much been trading in this particular range right now. Okay, but it will break out of this consolidation, building energy to move higher. Gold is the same way. It's basically making higher lows, and it's basically trading in a sideways range. It is significantly below the breakout range, so it has some work to do. However, it's digesting gains after hitting historic all-time highs of 42.50. You can't really blame it. But the gold and silver action is warning you of a greater dislocations in the financial markets, that there is a flight to safety and to safe haven assets. But the stock market is now catching up. It is beginning to correct, and it is right now, I call it throwing the baby out with the bathwater syndrome, is that initially they're going to sell everything off, and then we're going to diverge. The safe haven assets like gold, silver, any commodities for that matter, real estate, cryptocurrencies, they're going to be falling with the stock market, but the stock market is going to continue to fall while these safe haven assets will diverge higher. So where are we on the ES? We'll really talk about this. And we got a little bit of a rescue on Friday. Okay. Every Fridays has been that way. Okay. So basically we've had on the 14th, Friday rescue, little bit of a Friday. Not that one, but right here, Friday rescue. Okay, it's the same thing for the S&P 500. Friday rescue. We got a Friday rescue, move higher. Okay, so basically all of these basically are coinciding with the fact that we have a situation where there's these continued downward movement. Okay, and then we saw what happened right on the Thursdays, and then Thursdays generally happen to be one of those sharp sell-off days. Okay, so we get these rescues, and then we get these kind of a sell-off. And so I think that trend is going to continue as we speak. Okay, SPY and QQQ are down here, and those are the same things. Okay, so I just wanted to mention that. As well, we broke out of the 1780 level right here, and we've been buying calls as a group, and we've been moving higher, and you can see that we're making higher lows, and not only that, we are significantly above that level into the 20s. Okay, it's just building energy. VIX is very, very volatile. It'll move back higher, move back. It'll just continue to go higher until we hit some sort of a black swan event where the market just freaks out. So let's look at some charts and let's see what's going on, and we'll do some review, and we'll focus more on the SPY as a chart analysis, and then some of the stocks that are in our watch list that we are looking very, very closely at. And then I'll talk about a little bit about cryptos, and then it is a generational buying opportunity for cryptos, but I do not think that it's done going down, and we'll tell you why. And let's get into it real quick, okay? Okay, so here is my NASDAQ calendar, but let's go into SPY. This is the SPY daily, okay? And if you guys think that we started a new bull market, no. We just found some support in the 100-day moving average. I believe in this holiday shortened week, we're just going to chop between this ADMA and down into this pivot level and this 100-day moving average. Now, we are in a corrective market cycle, so generally, about 30% of the time, this holiday shortened week with its low liquidity can cause some sharp moves up and down. Okay, and that can happen. We'll see what happens. Okay, but what's happening with the SPY on the daily is that we are in a downtrend. We broke down from this impulsive second wave downtrend line. Found support at the 200-day moving average. Okay, we continue to have some divergence on the RSI. Does that mean that we can't bounce from here and then retest into this ADMA, possibly even to this 50 SMA if they so choose? Does not negate this bearish position. Okay, let's look at realistically how moving averages work and how great this chart is if you're a bear. I mean, we topped. We call that, and now we are below this intermediate uptrend line, and then we found support on Friday right there at the 20 SMA. This dotted line right here is 20 SMA. We continue to have divergence in the RSI. Look at this sell volume. Okay, so we may just chop around on Friday, not Friday, but Thanksgiving shortened week, and then resumption of selling. Now, there is a probability that we may, if there is something that happens geopolitically or something, I am looking for a sharp sell-off on one of these Mondays, to maybe label it as a Black Monday. Maybe, that it might happen this week. It did not, but we did sell off after popping on Monday, and that may be the same scenario this coming Monday, but I'm looking for a sharp sell-off, start to take out these 50 SMA level, but we have to get through this 20 SMA first. Okay, MACD is showing a death cross down into this region. Okay, let's go look at our indicators. All right, CCI is fully directional. We're below the 100 level, and we have a lot of room to fall down here, folks. A lot of room, okay? Stochastic is divergent, and we had a death cross into here. My PPO ADX crush indicator, here's the PPO, and compared to the ADX, we've got a very, very nice bearish formation. Whenever you see something like this, it means that that is becoming very, very directional to the downside. SPY has topped. We are basically formulating this type of a divergence. People are selling, and retail turds, I call them, are buying. Okay, so this is SPY, folks. I mean, let's look at our McClellan submission index. Okay, we are now into the second volatility box. Okay, we've kind of flattened out, but right here we're coming down. I mean, there's no if and or buts about it. We are targeting this area. Just expect some choppiness because of the holiday shortened week. Okay, so if you have things to do, go visit family. I think that's best to do. I mean, if you have long-term put positions, VIX calls, silver and gold calls, you know, I'd be buying up these XRP. Bitcoin is hit 80,000. I think we're going a little bit lower, folks. Okay, so all these people saying the bottom's in, it's not in yet. We have not had the flush. We have not had the capitulatory moment yet. Okay, but it's coming. Okay, don't sleep on your favorite coins. I like Litecoin right now, Bitcoin, XRP, XDC, obviously, Liberty Coin. You know, choose your poison at this point. I mean, it's on sale. Now's your chance, but sadly, most of you won't buy it because you're too scared. Okay, so here's our silver situation. A lot of you guys think this is a double top. I would beg to differ that we're finding support continuously at this 80 MA. We're building energy to move higher. Okay, and so we are now beginning to continue to have this divergence as we basically chop sideways to build energy to move higher. Silver is the most suppressed asset in the world. It's basically cheap at these levels. Physicals are better, but if you need to play with derivatives, then futures options is your way to go. Okay, I think realistically we are at the tail end of this choppy sideways range. Look at how high our MACD is. Yes, the MACD is just moving sideways. Everyone thinks it's going to make a death cross and come down. It may. You know, Silver Slam Crew is alive and well, but the problem is I think they have bigger problems to contend. You know, with a lot of the stuff going on. I'm not going to talk about anything politics at this point. Gets me in trouble, right? I don't want to do that. Okay, we have a stochastics, right? We've got a bullish crossover that's happening right now. Okay, a lot of good stuff beginning to emerge, signs that it's ready to start rocketing higher. Okay, so we've had this kind of this type of a market action. Okay, and so we're, you know, it just may come down. We just probably have one more choppy day or so, but I think silver is ready to explode. It needs to get above that 53.50 level for us to start exploding higher. Let's look at silver in a cup and a handle long-term basis. This is the handle portion. Really, it's just dancing around this important level. Silver Slam Crew will fight you to a point where, you know, as best as they can, so it does not get over. But once it stays over, we're exploding higher. All right. Great time to buy, I think, if it's available. I think there's some supplies now. So gold is the same thing, same situation. A lot of people think this is a double top. Yes, there is a downward trend coming, but it's supported right by this ADMA. So buy time, folks. I mean, it's just the way it is. All right, so some of the stocks that we looked at is AppLovin. I think this thing has a lot more downside coming. Just be aware that it's November, Thanksgiving, holiday shortened week. After a little chop, we're going to start taking out these 50s and 100s, okay? Especially if the market becomes impulsive. We got the death cross. What more do you want? Okay, just be careful. Wait for the bounces. NVDA, everybody celebrated. Jensen Huang comes out and says that, oh, if we didn't beat earnings, the whole stock market would have crashed. And he's right. It begs the question, how can you trust channel stuffing? How can you trust his inventory that chips are all sold out, but they haven't even made those chips yet? Okay, so and then of course the trifecta of evil: AMD, SMCI, and NVIDIA. Jensen Huang and Lisa Su are cousins, and they're both at the head of two of the largest and consequential semiconductor company, SMCI. They're family friends. Think about it, folks. All right. I hate SMCI. I just don't have time to talk about them. All right, just go short it. Not financial advice for you guys on YouTube or X. But here we go on BABA. We're coming right up into this 20 SMA. Pretty bearish divergences all around. MACD death cross. We may bounce around right here into holiday shortened week, but we're gonna resume selling. I'd watch Friday, that holiday shortened Friday on the right after Thanksgiving on the 28th. I don't know. Something's just not right about this market. Like, don't you just get that feeling, right? Feeling of impending crash. All right, so here's Airbnb, head and shoulders, within a head and shoulders. We covered this, okay? We're just getting started. We just breached this, short-term downtrend. We're going to start entering into this volatility box. All right, everything is divergent. We have a MACD that's basically directional and negative. What more do you want, folks? All right, here's Costco. Hate the stock, but I love shopping there, though. Okay, head and shoulders, found a little support at 100 SMA. You see the pattern here, folks? Moving averages basically provide support and price targets in a lot of cases, but we are heading into this area. I suppose we're going to chop around here, so great time to establish positions. We will start falling off. Consumer is dead, folks. Look at this distance between this 100 and the 200 SMA. Look at all of these pivot levels that needs to get filled. It's just getting started. We're just breaking below this neckline. That's all it is. I said the initial potential target was this area right here, and we've hit it, and we bounced a little bit, but all stocks bounced on Friday because that is the dynamics, folks. You got to short those bounces, folks. All right? So let's look at our favorite, and that is our cryptocurrencies. All right, so what is happening, folks? All right, so we're gonna zoom out and then go into the weekly. Okay, where's 1 week? Okay, we got a lot more downside coming. Okay, and this is music to our ears. There was this flash crash right into this area, right? That's the flash crash. I really think that somewhere between $1.75 range. Okay, so when we look at it, let me bring out a line here. This level down into this green dotted line is fair games on this pullback. That is not it's a scam or whatever. If we get to these levels between here, these are the buying ranges. You need to be nibbling at them. That's what we're gonna do as a group. Okay, XDC. Same thing, same situation, right? Here's the flash crash level. Anything between this flash crash level right into this area, okay, between now and if it ever gets down into this area, that's a buying range, folks. All right, let's look at Bitcoin. Okay. Oops. Okay, so all of this, and I've drawn this phasic levels. Here's phase 1, here's phase 2. It is very, very volatile, right, at this point. Realistically, I think silver, not silver, so I think we're going to basically find support somewhere between here and down to the 72 range. It's very possible, but anything here, when the correction started, anything between this red line and this red line is a buying zone. And once we hit it, it's going to be off to the races. Folks, they're trying to shake out the retail. Okay, they want all of these cheap cryptocurrencies into the ETFs and just get rid of that supply so that you are going to be forced to buy ETFs. Okay. And that's what's happening, folks. World Liberty. All right. Well, it just got released, right? I think it's a buy in this range right now, down to all the way down to here. I don't know if we get down to this flash crash range, but if we do, back up the truck. The other one that I like is basically Litecoin. Okay. And Litecoin has been, okay, beaten down. Okay, Litecoin, however, I do believe that we're nearing the bottom, but if it somehow gets into the 78, 76 range, yeah, we're going to be a buyer here. Okay, so that's, just got to be patient, but, it never hurts. You never know when they're going to bounce, but these are on sale. This is the Black Friday sale, folks. It's not a crash. Okay. Same thing, XRP. Are you going to buy it? Are you going to buy it at 1,000? We're way below 234. I believe there's an outside chance that we're going to start hitting that 175 level. That's where you buy between $1.75 and $1 if we get it. Okay. All right. So 10-year is rising and US dollar was falling. And this is from last week, right? And I'm just going to use this and I'm going to show you where things are different now. US dollar is rising because safe haven. Fed reverse repo continues. Cockroaches are emerging. Okay, there's a lot of hedge funds and private equities blowing up right now. Here we go. And that is the dynamics. But the real dynamic is that the Japan JPY carry trade is unwinding. Not a whole lot of amount of money that's printed or rate cuts are going to save this economy. We just need to have that pullback, correction, crash that's going to be cleansing. Okay, generational money is made. Really, profits are made on these pullbacks. You got to be able to buy them. Okay. New York Fed convened meeting last week. They are convening meeting again this weekend. Why do you think that is? Money market is unstable. Okay, same thing. Okay, it's going a bit lower and great buying opportunity for the cryptos. Crash is coming. Time frame has passed, but markets acting very volatile with late Friday rescues, and that has not changed. That's why I'm showing this to you. All right, gold and silver is ready to rocket after the after the options expiration. Thank you so much for listening. Follow me at galaxy.market at x.com and also on my YouTube channel. Subscribe, like us, share, and comment. If you want to learn about working with me, click on the link on the description below. My Essentials group, people love it. I've been getting a lot of subscribers, community members. Thank you so much. $49, you get my watch list, bearish and bullish. You get my daily market commentaries. Once in a while, little nuggets of trades that are coming up. We have higher levels where there's a lot more mentorship. There's trading courses. Just come and check us out. Okay, $49. You blow that on a McDonald's. Okay, and if you want to really work with me or find some custom ways of consulting with me, I do a lot of health and wealth consultations, including weight management, focus, performance management. Email me at coachbrandon@protonmail.com. Those are for those of you that are not community members yet. Okay. All right, let's get some alpha. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you. Bye-bye.